My grandmother, she had some trauma. She was imprisoned and put in a concentration camp by the Japanese. Her brother was a special forces captain. He fought back, but he was captured and he was publicly beheaded.
And now they don't really have a place, or they can't really talk about it, and they're just carrying it.
I remember growing up, she settled in Inglewood, California by the time she got to the United States, and she would cook chicken for my brother and I. My brother and I, we would eat, and we'd be done, and we'd put it down, and she would come over, and she would suck the bones.
Danger X.
My grandmother, Oma, her name is Helena, but she had she had some trauma. She was imprisoned and put in a concentration camp by the Japanese. Her brother was a special forces captain, and he fought back, but he was captured and he was publicly beheaded. Another one of her brothers was also imprisoned with her or nearby. It's Uncle Ben. And her, really this was full war, so it's everyone around you is captured or fighting or starving, and but also her mother-in-law was rounded up, and she was publicly executed, just shot in the head during the invasion. And so just recently, I found out she was also while she was imprisoned, and we're looking back now, and we don't know all the details of, but there were they called them comfort women back then, where the prisoners were, or the ones they liked, were forced into prostitution. And that kind of pisses me off, because it's like, when you talk about guys pick on each other, guys, boys, men, they roughhouse, and they talk shit, and don't talk about my mama. Mm-hmm. Don't talk about my grandma. I'm getting pissed off right now thinking about it, man.
Yeah.
This is...
You had a special connection with her.
Yeah, she was so loving, and just thinking that even, what is it, 70 years ago? 1942 was World War II. That pisses me off now. Don't fuck with my grandma. Mm-hmm. Man. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The spoils of war and what happens to women, and how they don't really have a place, or they can't really talk about it, and they're just carrying it, and she somehow stays nurturing and loving to you. And
I do think that was amazing how caring she was. We look at her family and other relatives, and it's very split between. My grandmother was very kind, very loving, very nurturing in spite of what happened to her. And you have other relatives who, same experiences, same camp, and they won't eat at a Japanese restaurant. Japanese person comes in the room, they're ready to jump out of their chair, get that fucking out of here. Yeah. Don't bring that in my house.
Yeah.
I don't feel that now, but I'm just in this moment. I'm putting my shoes, just trying to think of what she went through. I get pissed off.
Yeah.
How was she so calm?
No, I'm appreciating that you're really feeling into what it may have been like for her. Yeah. And, expressing that sadness, expressing the grief that she was probably carrying, and she probably couldn't bring up to you. She was caretaking for you, But there's what you're talking about, like people still choosing to connect and open up and forgive. somehow.
Absolutely.
And when we can't get past that, and you've seen both sides in your family, so you've seen both extremes, right? Because your grandfather was kind of opposite. He
Right.
was about more hardened through his
Right.
own life experiences.
So when they were invaded, he was able to escape. He was 14 or 15, and well, I think he escaped first. He jumped on a Navy cruiser or something, but then they put him to work, and so he was effectively in the Navy from 14 or 15.
He was 14. Yeah, that was a lot
And
early.
then through the war, and then for a few years afterwards.
Yeah.
And so both through similar experiences, but she was captured, and she carried her pain differently.
Mm-hmm.
He carried his pain. I mean, he was just more aggressive the rest of his life, and more assertive and more domineering.
I think something that comes up for me is like resilience, right? And like what makes her more resilient and what makes him resilient in his own way. But there are like these things that kind of protected her in some way, whatever that was. And I know you mentioned before to me at some point she was somewhat educated, like she had a background where her brain was a little bit more sophisticated, maybe. I don't know. Like, how would you, like, do you think that factors into?
I think so. The brother that was beheaded, he was a captain in the military. The other brother that was...
So that's high-ranking and usually educated,
Yes.
right? Or
a high-ranking, he was special forces as well. So, a little more sophisticated, a little more skills, a little more training. And then the other surviving brother who was also imprisoned, he was a chemical engineer, or petroleum specifically.
I mean, that's advanced stuff.
Right. I think maybe she had some little more forward thinking, or a little bit more just wherewithal to stay calm. I don't know how, but...
What would you say is the thing that kind of imparted and passed on to you of what your grandmother's being was?
Well, there's one thing that really sticks with me. Neither of my grandparents or their uncles and aunts spoke really in depth, so there's a lot of questions that we're trying to decipher now, right? Of like, what exactly happened?
Yeah.
But as I dug up some pictures of that time, and you look at these people, and they're skin and bones. They're laying on, they're laying on the ground, and they're starving, right? They're just maybe given enough food so that their captors can't say they killed them. I don't know, but they're just skin and bones. And remember growing up, she settled in Inglewood, California by the time she got to the United States, and she would cook chicken for my brother and I. And that's not chicken strips, not nuggets like like our kids get sometimes. They're just regular chicken with the bones and and she would cook that for us. And my brother and I, we would eat, and we'd be done, and we'd put it down, and she would come over, and she would suck the bones.
Yeah.
I think she never said anything about it, and I don't even realize it, or I didn't realize it at the time what was going on. I thought, oh, she's just finishing our plate, but I think she was carrying that trauma. She was carrying that starvation with her.
Without saying it, without putting it on you.
She wasn't saying it to us, right? But she was feeling it in that moment, and she was probably having a flashback and going, "Wow, I can't waste that chunk right there." She'd come over and like, "Oh, I'm done with the drumstick." I'm like, "Well, It's a little bit more right there, you know. And then she would boil the bones and make some soup, you know. It's like, wow, we triple ate that chicken. We ate it 3 times. Yeah.
Like you're really connecting with her suffering, like you're connecting with what she must have felt in the moment, and you feel like you're aware of what she didn't have and what she was needing and desperately needed, and how she still kept on sacrificing for her grandchildren so that they can have first and she can have second.
Yeah, she let us eat first too. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at me. I'm getting shook up here talking about this, and I'm just imagining what what my grandparents experienced, and I've only, I've been blessed growing up in the United States and having enough to eat. I've only experienced 2 times that I can think of where I was hungry, and it didn't last for too long. It was maybe a day or 2 where I just ran out of money couldn't get those 59-cent tacos from Taco Bell, right? I just didn't have that 59 cents. And man, even just a couple days that I experienced hunger, it sucks. Yeah. It sits in you, you know? Yeah, and imagine she was in a camp for years, 3 years, 4 years.
Mm-hmm. That stuff won't leave your body.
I have to check the dates someday, but
just memory.
It was more than 2 years.
More than 2 years. That's
more than 2 years. She was hungry, and that pain's not going to leave you. You're going to feel that.
Is there something else that you feel too, like in relation to yourself? Right, so you're kind of feeling her, what it might have been like to starve, what it might be like to wait your turn or to feel desperate for something. Is there anything else there that comes up for you? Is there feelings of, I don't know, like guilt or gratitude or just disbelief? Like what's that like for you to be touching her experience that's really strong for you right now?
I mean, there's definitely gratitude. I'm thinking back of the things that she did. They're starting to bubble up, like the chicken. And I also remember how she would hide dollar bills, or like she'd hide them and she'd sew them into her clothes. And I'm just thinking that where did she learn that behavior? Mm-hmm. Right? She learned that from this place where you have barbed wire all around you. You can't leave. Everyone's starving, and you're holding on to every little piece. Yeah. Right? Every drop of water, you're holding it. You're cherishing it.
It suddenly matters.
And
so
every
much
morsel
more.
Every piece of bread just really matters. Mm-hmm. And
I'm thinking of this.
Yeah.
You said she sewed things, and this was something that
she carried that back in her clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had it around that time, and she sew. I don't know.
It was sewn. It was
sewn, right? She's sewn it into one of the creases, so that it just looked like a bubble. And yeah, that was her engagement ring back then. And somehow it was never found. Right? And she always thought, she told me I should keep it, and then if I needed it one day, I could sell it. And I mean, I hope we don't, but yeah, but that's kind of how that was born, that this idea of her trying to hide little things, almost like a squirrel, kind of become animalistic.
Mm-hmm. One, I'm feeling like what I'm wearing is even more delicate.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate that you passed this on to me. And it's it's really special knowing that there's a story behind that it took to even get here. And so I just want you to know that I love that we got to do it this way, to actually explicitly talk about this and what it means for you. And as you carry now, like it's taken a while for these things to really hit home for you. And they hit home for you, and they inform you a little bit about who you are now, I'm sure. Right? And how you maybe even identify as somebody more of a grandchild of a concentration camp survivor. And I'm just curious about what it does for you to like relate in some way to like how you want to pass this down to our kids, right? Like some way of being that you recognize that she has, that squirrel, that hold on to something, to collect, to hide it. Like do we as a couple, right? Like we respect and we honor and we have forever gratitude for this amount of survival skill and sacrificing. And what is the value there that we have from that, right? What's the value that you want to really make very explicit and carry on for yourself, for us, for the kiddos?
Yeah, I mean, I've unconsciously been past this value of like not wasting. And I'm not sure exactly where we go with that, but I do think it's important. I think it's important not to, sure, if you have a little extra money, you can buy some toy for the kids or something, right? But not to buy 20 toys and then throw 15 of them away or, I mean, it's just wasteful. Like appreciate the things you have.
Yeah. Appreciating what you have and knowing that other people suffer that don't have much. You knew your grandmother went without, and you feel what that's like to not have that. And I feel like maybe there's a part of you that doesn't want to ever forget that won't forget that, you know? And so we humble ourselves enough, like, sure, we have some privileges and we have some things now, but we don't want to forget that it's not always easy. It doesn't always come easy for people, and it won't maybe for our kids. So for them to understand that, like, things, we can't take those for granted.
I think, if we can, I mean, just looking at her life, the way she came out of this time, she came out such a positive person and such an appreciative person, such a loving person. Yeah. And I do want to continue talking about these things and discovering and thinking about what happened, but I'm really hoping that there's positive outcomes at the other end. There's strength and there's loving and there's kindness. Yeah. There's not, and I don't want to get into my grandfather, but he survived in a different way. He survived by being extra tough, extra assholey, extra grr, and there's a place and time for grr. Yeah. For standing up and fighting, but probably less than we think. There's probably less opportunities for shouting and screaming than is actually necessary.
So can I tell you something that I'm connecting with you about right now? That I didn't make until just now, which is kind of cool. But so I was raised in Germany, and being raised in Germany, we were always hearing about the concentration camps and what happened to the Jews. And I remember early on reading the book, The Diary of Anne Frank, and just really hearing a lot of the suffering that happened over there. And I remember really early on that I wondered, how did they survive? How do they not lose their light? How do they stay in touch with their light? You know? And that was just a thing. Like, I just kept searching for that, even when I was working on my psychology counseling stuff. But they call that like existential crises, or kind of like existentialism. And there's like Viktor Frankl, and he talked about man's search for meaning. And he was a concentration camp survivor, and has so much respect. I was always drawn to people who are survivors of concentration camps, because I feel like they've got street credibility, like no doubt, hands down. If they have figured it out, I mean, they know what they're talking about, you know? And there's something about when you dive deep and you're in those situations and you really have nothing, like, what do you really have? What do you really have when the material things are gone? And if you touch that and you can grasp that, like, does that help you more? Does it help you more through life from the other times that are going to come when you're going through suffering? And so, anyway, I just wanted to share that, because I think
Thank you.
that probably relates a little bit. And I feel kind of connected more with you about the concentration camp stuff.